Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on the topic Transform Your Warehouse Operations and Management with Tasklet Mobile WMS. My name is Heja, and I'm a team lead at COSMO CONSULT, the Sweden branch. With me today, we have Steffen Christensen, which is head of sales from Tasklet. Welcome, Steffen.
Thank you so much. Good to be here.
Thank you, Stefan. We have an exciting webinar ahead of us. The agenda and topics we will be covering together with Stefan is some of the benefits of mobile VMS. We will be going through a standard implementation, a step-by-step guide on the major milestones, some real life success stories, and probably most exciting of all, a live actual demo in the mobile VMS system.
Yep, that's going to be good.
All right, let's start off with some benefits, Stefan. Go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, great. But let's jump directly into it. So, yeah, my name is Steffen, head of sales in HQ. That means I'm in charge of the European market together with my colleagues. And today I'll be talking of some of the benefits, of course. And as Haya mentioned, I'll give you a live demo later on. But Tasklet WMS, as you know, is a preferred VMS solution for the warehouses. And one of the, or some of the benefits, I have listed them here at the slides. And I think some of them are pretty obvious. But the main thing is, of course, as you can see in the right the bottom, is that you actually replace paper and pen. That's more like the main purpose of the devices that you have in the warehouse.
All right.
So get rid of paper and pen. And
Mm,
once you have done that, you of course will reduce the number of errors in the warehouse, the first line that you see here.
mm,
And I think once you have done that, again, then you have more efficient employees, maybe even happier employees, because now they have everything in their hand, just like a mobile device, like the
mm,
mobile phone. So it's easy and it's something that they are familiar with. They know how to use devices, at least the most of them. And of course, you reduce the warehouse cost because you start to optimize the work processes that you have in the warehouse because you have everything again in the device. You don't need to print out papers, hand it over to the
mm.
people at the office, and so on. So of course, and
Amazing.
yeah, and some of the great stuff is actually that, of course, improve customer satisfaction. I think that's one of the important stuff because we're all in for the customer. We want to make the customer happy.
Sure.
And if they can get the items and the goods easier and they can have the right kind of items that they have ordered, then we have succeed with the solution. So customer satisfaction is something that you can for sure improve when you have a handheld device.
Mm, mm,
And of course, inventory accuracy. We always need to make sure that we have everything in stock at the right time, and then we have, online services so we can connect directly from the device to our ERP system. So we have, all the time what kind of items we have in stock. So I think that's very, very important
mm,
because if you're using paper and pen when we talk about inventory, then you might have a delay, maybe a 1 day delay, even more if you want to write everything down on paper and hand it over to the people in the office and they need to type it in. So there's a huge benefit to have everything directly in the hand and it goes through web services directly into the ERP system. So
mm.
yeah, I think this is some of the benefits that you get for choosing a warehouse solution like Tasklet WMS.
Mm. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, this is only to mention a few of the benefits. Overall, simplified process, not having to work with actual printed paper, not having to run back and forth to the computer to register what you've done, and doing so while reducing the warehouse errors is pretty amazing benefits, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. And in my opinion, it's just like a must-have functionalities
Mm,
in 2025. This is how the warehouse works. Of course, we have small customers where they still use papers and pen, but once they get on the devices, they can start growing the business because they
mm,
can see the benefit. It's much easier and faster to use it.
mm,
So this slide is just some value proposition I've chosen to bring along as well. And some of the key features that we have here at Tasklet is also that we have offline capability. So some of the functionalities that we have actually works offline, and that's very beneficial if you have maybe poor Wi-Fi or do you need to go down in the back to collect some items, but you still want to use the device, then you can actually do it. Of course,
mm,
you need to be online once you're connecting to your EP system and once you're posting stuff. But in between, you can actually use the device still and register quantities and serial numbers and stuff like that. And once you get online, it will of course upload everything you have on the device.
mm. This has actually been important for a few of our customers that especially have large storage spaces where the coverage of Wi-Fi isn't the best at all times. So having the offline capabilities means that they still work seamlessly with the handheld devices and their processes.
Yeah, well, that's good. Good to hear. Good to hear for sure. And the second one is, of course, so we integrate to standard BC. We have a huge team here at Tasklet. They always look at the release waves directly from Microsoft. So the partners and the customers don't need to think about what will actually happen once Microsoft comes with these release waves, because we have already looked at it and make sure the Tasklet will still works. It's integrated to standard, and we always improve the solution as well
Mm.
to make sure it works. And because we do that, we think it's quick and easy to implement. And maybe, hey, you can put a few words on the implementation. If I hope you think it's easy to implement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I will always, we will also have a look at the standard implementation, but I would absolutely testify to that, that
Yeah,
it's quick and easy. And on the integrated to BC topic, that would also mean that we're at all times compatible with new functionality, business logic from Microsoft and Business Central, etc., uh, which is um, which is a good thing.
yeah, perfect. So beside that, once we talk standard integration, sometimes we meet customers, they have special needs. So of course you can customize the solution, which brings me to the next subject, easy to customize. It's a plugin to Business Central. That means you just go to the app source and download the Tasklet WMS to Business Central. But then the partner can actually help, make customizations, because sometimes you might just have the need for one new field. Maybe you want to have a whole new process built, and then we can actually adapt to that as well in the Tasklet environment. That's something that we do together with the partners and the customers, of course. But it's just to say you can easily customize it if you have any specific needs.
Mm,
So that's pretty good, of course.
mm,
So, and beside that, we put a great effort into actually make it user friendly. We had a lot of feedback coming in from the end customers, from the partners worldwide, to say what's good, what's not that good, and then we try to correct it because it needs to be user friendly, because we have built this for the end user.
yep.
That's the main purpose of Tasklet. So once you get familiar with the solution, once you have seen it, you can actually start working with it. You don't need that much, educational stuff like that,
Mm, mm,
because it's pretty similar to what you're used of, and that will be the mobile phone, because it looks pretty similar,
mm,
and it's very user friendly. We'll take you by the hand and through some steps with each functionality. So that's something that we're working on every day to make it even more user friendly.
mm, mm,
Yeah. So the last thing, outstanding support. I once had a partner I don't think it was you guys, but I had a partner once. They actually told us that you have outstanding support. So I've chosen to actually write it like that.
Mm,
So that's something that we hear quite a lot. That we are a Danish company, so we put a great effort in supporting the partners and the customers. So I think that we have maybe 10 or 15 supporters helping customers and partners worldwide.
mm.
So that's one of the key goals as well.
Yep,
So
I
it's
can
yeah,
testify to that
yeah,
as well. It's always as mentioned as the ones being in charge of the implementation, we are able to make some of the customizations. But when it gets a bit too advanced, we always reach out to you, and in dialogue together with you, we always get
yeah.
amazing feedbacks and a guideline on the next steps.
Yeah, oh, that's good. Yeah, maybe we should add that first line support if any question comes up. Normally, it's the partner because you
Yep.
guys as the partner knows the customer solution the best, and then we'll of course be second line support if anything is specific has come up that we need to help you with, just like you said.
Yep.
So yeah, great collaboration, I think, in supporting the customers.
Mm, I
Yeah,
agree.
for sure. Perfect. Yeah, this is maybe just for some of the customers or potential customers that are watching this webinar. This is just to show we have a vertical solution. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we have customers worldwide. So we have a lot of different setups with the customers. So I can tell you something about in the UK, for example, we have a lot of hospitalities and other great vertical solution. But this slide was just to give you an idea of what kind of companies and verticals that we could work with and
Mm,
are working on. So yeah, yep. This specific slide is just so you have an idea again as an end user, how does it actually work? So this is just about technology and management. First, the technology is that once you are on Business Central, the Tasklet handheld device will communicate with web services. That means that we communicate directly with the ERP system. That means it's fast and efficient. Once you actually post something, you'll have it directly in the ERP system. And if you need help, support, something like that, we have a management tool called Sotimobi, where first of all the partner can actually access all the devices, so they don't need to be on site to help you out. So they can actually look you over the shoulder just by connecting to Sotimobi, go into that specific device that you need maybe help with or you want to be educated in, and then they can actually remote control it directly from their own laptop.
mm,
Of course, it works both ways. So Sotimobi is a great tool which is included in Tasklet WMS management. So yeah, so this is just shortly. Maybe some of the people watching want to know just something about the technology. So this is the most tech stuff that I have.
mm.
So yeah,
All
but
right.
communicating with web services and the Sotimobi is a great tool.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't I run you through a standard setup and the major phases of the implementation of a mobile VMS. We start with the preparation phase where our trade and logistics consultants sit together with the customer to identify the processes and the level of support they would need in a mobile handheld device. We also involved in looking into what kind of hardware they are interested in and having that dialogue together with Tasklet and the team. The second phase is the actual is the installation of the mobile VMS solution directly in, to begin with, a Business Central sandbox environment where we configure and set up the mobile VMS system based on the findings from the workshop we had with the customers. And then you mentioned being able to access, and this is authentication process using the Entra, so that only people allowed basically access the mobile WMS system and can
Yeah.
communicate with the ERP. Then it moves on to a configuration phase where we finalize the mobile WMS setup. We have hopefully received the hardware and enrolled those devices. You mentioned Sutimobi Control. It's a
Yeah.
great tool for us as well to remote connection with the actual handheld devices, which is very, very useful when we move on to the test phase, where we actually demo all the processes linked to the customer's sandbox environment with their items, with their customers, with their processes, and so forth. And obviously, after that, we hand it over to the end users to evaluate and work with the actual processes to their sandbox environment. And most times, some minor fine tunings are needed. You mentioned customizations, and on a low code level, the customer might need an specific menu option to be promoted on a start screen. They might want to customize the visuals of the handheld so that some staff only have access to what they are working with on a daily basis and not needing to have all the functionality displayed on the handheld devices.
Correct.
After that, we configure the production environment, making it ready for go live, basically. This usually calendar-wise takes between 1 to 2 weeks. Obviously, we need to respect lead times of hardware and licenses and whatnot, but generally we keep 1 to 2 weeks on a standard implementation of a mobile VMS system.
Which is pretty fast, in my opinion. So that's good. Good to hear. Well, maybe I should tell you, maybe it's just a short story. It's not a huge story, but we had a customer, of course, they were non-efficient in the warehouse. That's typical where it starts. That's the warehouse manager think they have, maybe they can improve stuff. That's why they come to the partners. That's why they come to us. Maybe they're still using paper and pen, which is actually fine to begin with because not every company needs a WMS solution. I'm quite aware of that. But as soon as you can see the need for improve and to do something more efficient, this will be the right way to look to optimize the processes. So in this case, they have paper and pen. It was difficult as well to educate and train new people coming in, maybe seasonally. They want to have people coming in once in a while to help them out in a specific period of time. It's difficult to tell them how to do stuff in the old way because we have paper and pen and you need to go to the laptop and register stuff and make sure that you count it and so back and forth. And of course, the last thing about stock errors, we mentioned that earlier as well. Once you're using paper and pen, you have a lack of accuracy in the stock count as well. So maybe it has been picked, but was it registered or did it have we counted and was that registered before or after we make another movement or pick stuff like that? So a lot of errors was actually occurring and it was non-efficient in this specific warehouse. And of course, the middle section is the solution. And well, it speaks for itself that we think the solution will, of course, be to implement a WMS solution like Tasklet together with a great partner, of course. And that is just to make everything digital and make everything moving fast with web services. So get rid of paper and pen. Make sure to use the handheld device because you can register everything in live data stream. And it's much easier to have new people coming into work in the warehouse because it's all digital and you can just show it directly on the device and everything is something that you are pretty familiar with, again, because we are used of using mobile phones. And of course, we have a lot of features. And as you mentioned here, you can add or remove features for a specific warehouse workers. So maybe you have a colleague which only need to receive and put away. That will be the only thing that they can see on their device. And the other guys can maybe see, the pick or stock count and stuff like that. So you can actually make it different from worker to worker. And even the language as well can be different. So it's much easier to actually to do that to meet the needs for the specific warehouse workers. And in this case, the results, maybe it speaks for itself, of course. As you can see, they had a much faster order processing. That means they can be more efficient because everything is on the device. Tap on it, scan the item, scan the bin, post it. That's it, you're done.
Mm.
And of course, it improved the workflows because it's much easier. You don't need to go back and forth to the printer. You don't need to hand over paper to a colleague who needs to register stuff and more like that. And of course, the last one, the stock count and the control over the stock is much, much more accurate because everything is registered instant. So you don't have any lack of, again, paper floating around. So in this specific case, and I think it's common for most of the customers that we help is that they come from maybe a paper-based workflow kind of thing, and now they're online. It's digital. Everything moves incredibly fast. That means they can actually improve their pick time with maybe 300%, and the accuracy again, it's nearly 100%. Of course, we still have people working. People are tapping in, but if you use it in the right way, you should actually have a very, very high quality of the stock levels as well. So that's in my case a good success story. But again, it's a more general story because it's actually what you benefit out of the solution. And of course, you can add in more, just like production, assembly, and stuff like that, where you have the need for optimized processes, and that's
Sure.
something that we support as well.
On the topic minimizing errors, and correct me if I'm wrong, Stefan, in the mobile handheld devices, we are relying on the business logic set in Business Central,
Yeah.
meaning, for example, if an item requires to have a serial number inputted before posting the receipt, it will require you in the handheld device to input the serial number
Yeah.
before you're able to post it.
Yeah, that's correct. And we even have something called online validation. That means that we actually always check online, is this the right serial number, lot number, stuff like that. Even we also have something called license plate. So every time we have some specific or unique kind of number or ID, we can actually do an online validation to make sure that this is the right stuff or thing that we are scanning.
Good.
Yeah, so that's something that ensures the high quality
Yeah.
of the stock count, for example, in the warehouse. Yeah.
All
So
right.
now
To the
the
fun part.
the fun part, if you will. So perfect. Yeah. Well, normally I have around 1 hour to do a demo, and I think today I have maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So I'll just do it pretty quickly. But of course, I will show you some of the basic stuff, but again, the important stuff, because this is where I think that the customer really benefits from using a device like this. So this is actually the social mobile control system, the management system that I talked about earlier, that I'm using for displaying this specific device. And if you look at my webcam, maybe you can see it, but this is actually the same device that I'm having in my hand. I've just made a screen directly on the device here. So I can use it both ways. And that's a very, very good thing about setting up the devices, helping the customers and stuff like that. Two-way display. But yeah, let's try to jump into some of the functionalities. And as you can see, we have all the functionalities listed. We can remove some of them if you not want to use them, maybe add them later on. I think that I'll be working on the receive and maybe a pick and a count. And let's see what the time says, but locate item, maybe some movement. And I actually also have barcodes.
All
So
right.
in my world, it's important that I have barcodes on the item and bins, of course, because other than that, it's not so easy to scan stuff, and then we cannot be that accurate. Um, but a very important topic is that you can actually still use the device if you don't have barcodes. If the barcodes are broken or something like that, you can always just tap on the device directly, and that'll be the same as scanning. But of course, we always recommend to scan items and the bin barcodes if possible.
Mm.
So let's imagine that I'm in the warehouse. I need to receive some items coming in. So I'm going into the receive orders, and here I have the list on all the receiving orders, and all the data, as Heya mentioned, is coming from Business Central and pushed directly out to the handheld device. So this is just released receiving orders, and I can go into one of the specific orders if I want to work with a specific one. Um, Instead of trying to figure out which one I should work on, I'll just scan the first item I come across. So let's imagine I have a pallet in front of me in the warehouse, and then I'll just simply take the first item out of the pallet and scan it. So I'll try to scan my orange chocolate, and let's see what happens. So the system automated filtered down to these two receiving orders, and then I can tap on the one I need to work on. But I'll just go back one step again because I want to show you what would happen if I'm scanning the pistachio chocolate. So because this specific pistachio chocolate is only found in one receiving order, it will just pop up that specific order instant. And now you can actually see all the items that you need to receive. And if you're that lucky that you have a picture inside of Business Central, you will see it on the device as well. You can see the item number and the name and how much you need to receive. Is it boxes or pieces? And then we have these color lines. The blue one, that means that nothing has occurred yet. If it's orange, that means it's partially received, and it's green, that means you have registered the item. So let's just try to scan the first one, orange chocolate. Now the system pops up, say you need to find 10, so I'll count it and I'll confirm. Hit the check mark, now it turns green. That means now this is accounted for. We are still working directly on the device. Nothing has been sent up over to the ERP system yet. So this can actually be done offline. So the pistachio chocolate, 15 pieces. So let's imagine I can only find 10 pieces. Then I'll just correct the quantity and hit the check mark. Now you can see it's orange. That means it's partially received. And hopefully you'll find the rest on the pallet somewhere else. The Pokemon T is just to show you that we have tracking as well. So this is where we have the expiration date. You can scan it or you can tap directly in the on the device. So 12, 25. Then I can scan the lot number. I have that as a barcode, and I'll confirm 15 pieces. And then I'll go with the golf ball. So in this case, they are the ones who have serial numbers. So you can just scan them, one, and you can scan number two. So if I'm scanning the same serial number twice, let's try to do that. Then I have this red arrow popping up, say you have already registered this serial number. So I'll make sure to scan the correct one, the third one. Now they have been received, and now I was actually able to find the rest of the pistachio chocolate. So I'll just scan that once again, and the system knows that I need to find 5 pieces. I'll confirm and hit the check mark. So now I've actually received everything, and I could say yes to post it. But before I'm doing that, I want to show you some great features that we have. So I'll just say no. So you can see I have some shortcuts here in the bottom. Some of them is actually pretty neat because let's imagine you have some items coming in that is damaged that you need to maybe add a picture for later handling. So then you can actually highlight one of the lines. You can see this is highlighted, the pistachio chocolate. And then I can tap on attach image. And then I can take a picture directly with the device, like this, of damaged goods, something I want to register. And then I can add in a small text as well. I'll just say test and confirm. Now you will see that we have a small paper clip appear. That means we have some kind of attachment for this specific line. You can do it on the overall receiving orders, or you can do it on a specific item. So that's a great feature if you have something you want to, tell your office people, please be aware of that we have some damaged item, something like that. But for the warehouse workers, this is done. I can move on to the next task. Another one is that we can print out labels directly from the handheld device. So once it has been set up, you can print out labels for a specific item, or you can print out for boxes as well. So if you want to, repackage item in boxes, you can say I want to have a label saying I have 100 pieces of this specific item in this box, and maybe I want 10 copies of that specific label. And then you can just use this print functionality for that.
That's very convenient.
Very good, yeah, of course. And you can actually choose which kind of functionalities you want to have as a shortcut down here. That's something that you can set up. But let's go ahead and post it. And now we will communicate with Business Central. And before we do that, we have in my demo, we have a small note saying you need to add a delivery note number. This is just to tell you that we can add steps in the receiving process, or actually anywhere in the system. If you want to collect any kind of information, you can have a step like this, or multiple steps. So you can just tap anything, and now it will communicate directly with PC, and that specific receiving order will be removed from the list.
All right.
So now everything is updated inside of Business Central. You can see what has been received. You have the pictures if you have some damaged goods, and the text with a small note. And that's pretty good. In my case, this is actually a two-step receiving process, because now I've received everything, and now I have told the system that you need to make a put-away order after this. That means, in my case, I will now be able to find a put-away order with all the items we have just received. And I think it should be somewhere here. Maybe I've worked ahead of myself. Sometimes I do. Let's see if we can leave. I'll just show another one then. But what we actually do is we just add a bin number for each item we have just received.
All right.
And then you just go down to the bin, scan the bin and the item, and you place it. And then you're done. So that's a two-step. You can also do it in the receiving process. So you actually have the bin when you receive it the first time. So you have two options. So it depends on the need that you have.
This is also set up on the location configuration directly in Business Central. So if you require bin, for example, it would understand that and ask you to input where you're placing it, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah.
Great.
So the next one is pick, and of course we have multiple options for picking. The first one is the easiest one. So again, this is all the released pick orders that we have from Business Central sent out to the device. Another great feature I'll just highlight is that you actually have a filter option. That means that if you have multiple people working in the warehouse, you can actually filter down to, I will only see my orders that I need to work on, or I want to see for a specific location or something else, maybe a date. So you can actually filter everything directly here on that. You can actually make an advanced filter option as well. So you have options for filtering. But in this case, the first one is a very simple order. Someone have ordered some pistachio chocolate and some Pugament tea. And then I'll just go down with my trolley and I'll scan the item and I'll scan the bin. So I'll just go down to 01. I'll scan that and I'll scan the pistachio and I'll confirm the quantity and I'll take 5 pieces with me and I'll do the same with the tea and I'll scan the bin like that. And the lot number, I need to scan that to make sure we have everything registered and 5 pieces. And now I'll just say yes. And now we'll update the pick order inside of Business Central. Everything has been picked. And now I can hand over the items to one of my colleagues handling the shipment in any way you want to proceed with the shipment. At Tasklet, we also have a more advanced solution where you can actually add in shipping agent. That means you can actually pick directly in a shipping box or a tote, multiple picking. And then you can later on add a carrier, a shipping agent, stuff like that. And then you can print out all the labels that you need for the shipment directly
All right.
with the handheld device. But that's more like a step 2 kind of functionality, I guess.
Mm.
This is the basic stuff, but you can easily go with the advanced and add in more specific kind of things in the shipment process. Good. So
Great.
that has been picked, and my colleague has managed the shipment. So some of the other great features that we have is the count. So we have multiple options for counting, but the first one is actually where we have, the monthly or yearly stock count.
Mm.
That means someone in the office has generated a count order and pushed it out to the device. And luckily, it landed on my device. So I need to go count these 3 items.
Mm.
So you can see I have the bin and I have everything else. I know if it's boxes or pieces. In this case, I'm not able to see any quantity. And that's because in our company, we have chosen to remove the quantity. So you cannot be able to see how much there should be
All
in,
right.
but you could actually add it so you know in advance that there should be 200.
Mm.
But I prefer to remove it because then we know that they have counted it
Mm.
properly. But in this case, the first one is some cables for loudspeakers. I'll just scan the cables and the bin, and then I'll do the counting and I'll enter the quantity. Let's go with 225. Now it turns green, and we're still working offline actually directly on the device.
All right.
But now I'll go with the stand. I'll scan the items in the bin, and let's go with 125. And the loudspeaker itself, let's try out, say, 1000, like that. So what happens now is that we only communicate directly with Business Central and then update the lines. We don't post anything inside Business Central. We just update the lines so you can see what has actually been counted. And then the manager needs to go and approve all the countings.
Okay.
So he could actually approve maybe the first 2 lines because that's correct. But if the manager knows that we only have 100 loudspeakers, then he knows someone had counted incorrect, and then they can actually push it back for a recount. So in that case, everything will be handled inside of Business Central, and I'll have a new count order coming out to my
Mm.
device, but only with the loudspeakers. You need to go to count them once more.
Mm.
So that's a great functionality, and of course you can set it up in any way you want. How often you want to count stuff, set up to you. I'll just leave this one open. Great. So that's one of the count options that we have. This one and the other one, again, is actually something that is pretty used. I want you just to shortly tell you what it means. The online count is maybe only for the manager because you can actually scan an item, scan a bin, and then you can enter in the quantity and you can post it. And once you post it, the quantity will be updated inside of Business Central instant. So
Okay.
maybe that should only be for the manager.
Mm.
Uh, so that's why you can actually remove functionality from the device, so it's not for everyone. This one, adjust a quantity, could be if you have damaged goods, if you want to adjust down by 1. Maybe you have some chocolate gone bad, you need to adjust it, then you just scan the bin and the item, and then you have a reason code. And that reason code, of course, come from Business Central, so you can choose from the reasons that you have set up.
All right.
So that's an easy way to adjust quantity directly from the handheld device without paper and pen, without informing the office in any way.
Mm.
And of course, movement, I'll just show you what it looks like. Someone has sent me a move order. Maybe I need to move stuff from the bulk area to the pick bins or something like that. Now we have just added a from and a to bin. And then you simply just go down, scan the item and the bin where you're taking the item from. You move it physically and then you scan it once more and the bin, and it turns green and you post it and everything is updated inside of Business Central. So this is
Okay.
a very easy way maybe to use the truck or forklift to get a pallet from the bulk
Mm.
area and move it down to the pick area.
Mm.
And of course we have some of the, again, basic stuff where you can look up items, you can look up the bin content, what should actually be in this specific bin, and you can add in item cross-reference. Maybe sometimes you have multiple barcodes for the same item, then you can register directly with the handheld device. So that's a huge advantage. You don't need to go again to the office with some paper and pen, try to explain that we have a new barcode for some item. I didn't actually remember what it was, but something like that. So locate item, or just take it so you can see what it looks like. You can look up an item, you can see exactly how many you should have and where they should be. And then we have some numbers that we can work with. You can set it up so you can actually see, in this case, I have 5 pieces in front of me physically, but I'm not allowed to do anything with them. Maybe they have been reserved for a pick or movement, stuff like that.
All right.
You could use it like that, more efficient. And again, for the bin content, you can scan any bin to maybe have a lookup, say what should actually be in this specific bin. In this case, we only have one item, the pistachio chocolate. But if I'm going with maybe another bin, I can see the orange chocolate, 50 pieces. And here I have 2 different items, but on the same bin. So it's a very strong tool to actually make a lookup. Then maybe you can move stuff around if you want to do that, or do anything you want to do with the items on that specific location. But yeah, I could move on with a lot of great functionalities, but I think this is some of the basic stuff, the important stuff that I've shown you. So we've been through the receive, and you can actually receive and put away in 1 step or 2 step. You can pick the simple order, or you can do it more advanced, where you have maybe totes and you can print out shipping labels. The count is something very important and very, very efficient. This is where you can save a lot of time, because everything is going back and forth instant, so you can actually count everything. And the unplanned count is very, very strong tool, maybe only for the manager, but then we can actually add in some quantity directly in the ERP system. And we can even adjust quantity if you have some damaged items, stuff like that. And of course, the move and locate, very, very strong tools as well.
Steffen, thank you so much for the demo, giving us a good
welcome.
picture on standard, a few of the standard functionalities. And if you are interested in learning more about mobile WMS, you can go ahead and scan the barcode you can see on the screen. It will take you to more information on our website. You can read about all the details. You have contact information there to us as well. And again, please do feel free to reach out. You could scan the code to add us on LinkedIn and continue discussions there, or feel free to reach out to me directly, heja.ghoulami@cosmoconsult.com, or Steffen as well.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Steffen, super thank you to you.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure to attend.